Hey guys, how's it? So, in sunny South Africa, with a product that we've been wanting to test and review for a long time. This is the EcoFlow Wave portable aircon. Now, first and foremost, this unit wasn't sponsored, wasn't given to us. We actually bought this unit. We purchased it because we were looking for a bit more comfort. And I got a lot of flack. Got a lot of flack from my friends and family and everybody about portable aircon, and we being like sissies, and we say, why do you need to be cool, and why, and this, that, and the other. But let's be realistic. Look at our flex fridge. Look at all the things we have. Memory foam mattresses, awnings. We're all getting to a point where 20 years ago, these things never existed. You ran around with a cooler box and buying ice all the time. And you invested money to make your life more comfortable in camping with having a refrigerator and a freezer. You invested in having 220 volts, so you've got electrical power at home. Your wife can do her hair, you can charge your laptop, whatever it may be. We look at memory foam mattresses. We're always moving with the times to get more comfortable. It's not saying that we want to be living like we are at home, but we've got Starlink, so we've got connectivity. So this is just another step in that direction of being comfortable. You know, at the end of the day, we drive in air-conditioned vehicles, we live in air-conditioned homes, we work in air-conditioned buildings. So when you're in your camping environment and it gets into South African hot 40-degree temperatures in the middle of nowhere, you kind of want to be a bit comfortable. I'm not saying you want to be ice cold, but if you're looking in the mornings, you're wanting to lay in for half an hour or so, and suddenly the sun comes up at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning, and within 10 minutes the tent gets unbearably hot. You can't actually lay in till, let's say, 8 o'clock. Watch the view out of your tent. And this is where a unit like this comes in. It's going to make it bearable to lay in there for a bit, enjoy some time out, come into a tent on a hot afternoon and have a nap and not be uncomfortable, especially for digital nomads, people traveling a lot. I think this is the way to go. There's a lot of things I love about this unit. There are some things I don't like about this unit. Firstly, I like the form factor of the unit. I like how it's built. I like everything about it. I like the carrying handle. It's got this little dial here where you can set temperatures and fan speeds. It's got controls on top. It's also got these adapters, like this adapter clips on the front. And then you've got this piping. These are all removable pipes, both of them. And this pipe goes on here. And you could leave the unit here and route it up to your tent, or leave it outside your tent and route it in, or your camper van, whatever. Or alternatively, you can take this off, and then this attaches to the back. It clips on very simply on the back. And then you can route these pipes outside of your tent or your camper van and actually put this unit inside. So from the videos I've watched, the unit actually works better inside the tent or the camper van because it doesn't have the direct sun hitting on it. But in all cases, like I look at my rooftop tent, this thing is a bit too cumbersome and big to put in there. So I put this thing outside and route a pipe to the top. It's got a built-in drain over water storage that actually has an evaporation setting that allows it to internally evaporate the water that condensates. So minimal water comes out when you drain it at the back. But you do alternatively get this pipe with the unit that allows you to couple onto that drain, pull out the bung over there, and get all the water out and run the unit for as long as you need to run the unit. The unit doesn't come with this, but we purchased this separately. This is a cigarette lighter. You get about 85 watts out of this. So it's not going to charge it fast. It's going to charge it quite slow. But on continuous driving, you're going to take it up from, let's say on a 5-hour drive, you're going to take it up from 50% to at least 75+%. But we did, like I said, we purchased this extra on the unit. Things I don't like about the unit is these buttons here don't have a child lock. So when I'm leaning over, it's always changing a setting. It's always doing something that I don't want it to do. There should have been a child lock. Even on the app, it should have allowed you to lock these buttons. This over here should face downwards more. It goes down, but not as much as I'd like. When you think of it this way, hot air is dense. Hot air rises and cool air sinks because it's dense. So you kind of want to angle this as much down as you can, so that the cool air lays at the bottom of the tent or the vehicle and slowly moves up and cools the unit. That's some of the one things. And then the other thing is I think they should have had another directional thing inside here where you could have angled the air. So if I put in the center of my tent and I want to cool the kids a bit or I want to cool myself a bit, I should be able to move the airflow without moving the unit because I don't want to disturb the piping that I've probably routed a very specific way. Also, I don't like the fact that the power cable doesn't detach from the unit. This is on the one. I know on the EcoFlow Wave 2 it does, but it's always there. So whatever you're doing, you always have to worry about this cable. It's got a 220 volt. It charges very fast with this. It charges about 800 watts with this. So it'll charge from 50% to 100% in like 40 minutes or so. Then you've got solar input. This is I love, but I haven't tested it, where you can actually use this XT60 point and charge your unit via solar. Obviously, you'd want a 240 watt plus solar panel. The bigger the panel, the more input you'd get off the unit. This thing can couple with the whole EcoFlow ecosystem, because I know this plugs into one of the bigger EcoFlows, but we're going to test it with our FlexiPower Lithium 7 and see if we can actually charge it. The unit is quite heavy, but then again, you know, what do you expect? You basically have a complete air conditioning system like you have at home, with an outdoor condenser, an indoor condenser, and piping, all of that crammed into something this size. All that tech. Remember, this is not an air cooler. This is a proper air con. If you look, it's got the radiator grills, it's got the copper piping, it's got all of those things. So you're looking at proper ice cold air, which we're going to test in a minute with our portable thermometer and portable air con, with our digital infrared COVID thermometer. This was our COVID thermometer. Remember those days? So we're going to test it. Another thing I love about it is the app. The app's really good. You can set it between eco modes, eco minus, eco neutral, and then eco plus, where eco plus obviously saves you more power. So let's say you're on a temperature of about 22, it will cycle between the aircon and the fan to keep it round about 22. Or you can put on straight aircon mode and have it on 22 or 21 or 16. But then you're going to chow a lot more battery. I think once you connect it to power, you won't worry that much about it. But when you're running on the battery, you're obviously trying to run right through the night, wherever you are, and maybe charge it when you're driving. What else do I like? Oh, and then the app's also got like a timer setting where you can set it. You want it on for 4 hours and switches off after 4 hours. I haven't really tested the unit that much because we, funny enough, haven't had, when we were camping, we never had the proper super hot days, so it didn't warrant using the unit, even though we took it with us. The one thing that's a downside is the price. It is quite pricey. If you look at this unit, you're probably looking at about $700-800, which is about 16,000 Rand just for the unit, excluding the battery. And you're looking at 24,000 Rand with the battery, which is about $1,100 somewhere. So it is quite an expensive buy. It is something you really have to think about. You really have to take the time and think. It's more expensive than buying a lot of the other products in the vehicle. But in terms of comfortability, I think it is a game changer. Just for me, you know, I've tried everything with my camper setup. I had the foil roof thing over the top, and then you've got fans blowing air out. No matter what you did, you could never lay in there licking in the morning and enjoy the sunrise and watch the lake and have your coffee in the tent, because it just, within minutes, that canvas tent just got so uncomfortable. So I'm hoping that this is just going to change all of that. So let's get into it. Let's see what the unit's about. Let's do some tests, and then you can decide for yourself if this would be something you'd actually be interested in purchasing. I just want to jump into something. You guys know me being the tech guy that I am, and the gadget and the self-repair guy. What I discovered is that this pipe over here is not long enough, if the unit stands on my tailgate, to actually reach the top. So I bought some plumbing pipe, and you can watch on the video how I actually do my own little MacGyver, as we call it in South Africa, that I'm going to route this into my tent. So I think the first step here is to actually open the tent up. First and foremost, before we get on to anything, I'm actually letting the tent build up some temperature. So I've opened the tent, I've closed the windows, so we're simulating what it'd be like a morning on camp. So let's do a little DIY jobby and then see how that goes. So I basically got some basic irrigation plumber's pipe. I got a 90-degree that will go into the tent. I don't know if I have to cut it yet. And then I've got a reducer that will go into the pipe itself. What did this cost me? I think this was 50 Rand, $3. I don't know, I'm not good with dollars. 80 Rand, $4. And this was 70 Rand, $3. Just dollars. So I'm always doing it in dollars because it's easier to understand. Our South African Rand, it's not always easy to understand for our international viewers. So let's just see how this attaches. I'm no plumber, but I'm sure it just... Okay, so far so good. You kind of just push it on. There we go. You can see it's all the way in over there, all the way in over there. So now I've left a little gap there, and we're gonna... I think I'm gonna have to climb up there quickly. Let's just get up there. So now this, like I said earlier on, these all turn on to here. So let's just turn this on, and I think we're good to go. See, it turns in, it's got a little thread on it, turns in. So that's good. This unit, we're just gonna clip on there. There you go. And now we can route it to this pipe. And I don't even think we need a clamp, because when I was in the hardware this morning and I measured it, it's a perfect tight fit. So we won't need to clamp it, and we won't lose any air. It fits just over there. There we go. Check that out. How perfect is that? So let's first and foremost go test the temperature up there. Let's do it. So we're in the tent now, and we're going to test the temperature. So we've got it on person testing. How do we get it away? Then we've got it on object testing. Let's just have a look. It's gone 33.1. Over there, 33.4. Let's go to the corner and see what it does there. 35.8. And over there, 36. So we know that it's 36 inside the tent. So let's get out the tent quickly, lock the vehicle in case we get bombarded by any boons. Vehicle is locked. As you can see, we've got our setup here outside. So like I showed you, I've got that extended plumbing pipe running down, and I've got the unit standing on the floor. The unit on, you can see it's at 28 degrees inside this tent. That's what's registering. Let's set the temperature. So that's the eco modes that I was talking about. You've got eco minus, eco neutral, and eco plus. So if you look at the battery life over there, this will show you what battery life. I've got 6 hours left in that mode. But let's go to cooling mode. Just wait for it to switch to cooling mode. There we go. So now we set it to 16 degrees. It's at 27, and we will have about 5 hours on that battery time. So let's go for it. Let's test the temperature also coming out of the unit. So the air coming out of the unit right now is 28 degrees. And as it drops down, it's going to get cooler, and 27.8. So we're looking now at 10 minutes later. Let's look at our temperature. So let's go into the right mode, and let's check our temp. 28.2. Let's check the temperature coming out of the unit. This damn thermometer switches off all the time. I don't know why. So let's have a look. And the temperature coming out of the unit is 19.5. Not bad. This tent is really cool inside, eh? So after extensive testing, we brought this unit down to 1%. The tent was comfortable. I actually fell asleep in the tent. I'm not gonna lie. It's the honest truth. But the next thing I want to see is if my Flexo Power Lithium 700 can charge this unit. Which then means I have a few options. I can either charge solar into here, because remember, this is an inline UPS, or I can charge this while driving at a very high charging rate, and then I can charge this unit.
But what I'm really looking forward to is the Flexo Drive DC to DC alternator charging. That's going to be coming out in a few weeks, probably close to March side. And that unit is going to give you a much higher charging rate. So you'll be able to charge these units in a fraction of the time as what you would normally by plugging it into the cigarette lighter. It's going to be able to give out 450 watts of charging, which means I'll be able to charge this unit from zero to flat, probably in an hour and a half, 2 hours of driving, which is perfect. So we're waiting for that. So let's have a look if this unit, I'm only on 55% because I actually actively use this unit. Well, let's put the AC mode on. It's activating. And let's have a look if this unit is charging. I hear some form of clicking going on. I hear the fans going on. It's definitely charging. So let me have a look at the app and see if this unit is actually charging. Yep, it's showing charging. And at this rate that this unit is kicking out, the chain that's going to take an hour and 35 minutes because it's charging at 657 watts, which is amazing. That means I'll be able to run this unit for double the time that I thought I could because I run it off of the built-in battery or the add-on battery, and then I can run it off of the Flexo power and the TO7 hub. So there we go. You can hear, let me just switch it off. So fly it. So guys, if you're thinking about portable air cons, cooling yourself, I would definitely recommend this. I've looked at other units. All of them are massive. They're way more expensive. They're not portable. A lot of them you actually have to affix to your camper or your rooftop tent. And I was looking at portability because remember, this thing doesn't only just serve for your vehicle. Let's say you get to a bed and breakfast or a lodge in the middle of nowhere and there is no AC or it's load shedding or there's no power or whatever. You do have your own source of air conditioning. And for you guys that travel, you know that sometimes the variables are not in your favor. You get to a place and it's blistering hot. You're able to just cool yourself a little bit. So, guys, until the next review, it's me, Gershwin. Take care and take it easy.